another story breaking in the last few hours. 3 suspected extortionists have been killed in Cape Town during a shootout with officers. The police's Andre Traut saying the incident happened earlier today. The authorities were reacting to information received that 7 occupants of a minibus taxi were trying to extort money from a shop owner in the area of Dunoon. Now, Traut says the group opened fire while being pursued. 4 others are in hospital, the police say, and they are under police guard. An assault rifle, a 9mm pistol, and an undisclosed amount of cash was seized from the suspects. All right, let's try and bring you an update now on that story. Live for us at the scene is Nasiphi Same. Nasiphi, good evening to you. Are you able to tell us what happened there? What are people saying in the surrounds?
Details at the moment are still sketchy, and it's been hours since the shootout between alleged extortionists and the police broke out this afternoon around 2 o'clock in the afternoon here in Bothasig at the corner of Bothasig and Veintline Road. And we'll just show you that as much as, you know, the crime scene is still active, crime scene investigators are still combing through that active scene and looking for any sort of detail to add into the investigation, as we know from police that it is suspected that 7 occupants in that minibus taxi that you're seeing there in those live visuals were traveling from an area not too far from here in Dunoon when police were acting on a tip-off when the occupants in the minibus noticed the police. We understand that they fled, police giving chase all the way to this area where a shootout ensued. 3 of those occupants were gunned down during the shooting, leaving 4 others injured who were taken by police and under guard by police to a nearby hospital, and that matter is currently being investigated. Police also indicating that none of the officers that were part of or involved in the shootout were injured. Authorities are saying that the police's combating team gave a high-speed chase all the way from Dunoon to this area of Bothasig, where, as you can see, police are still on scene, guarding closely that crime scene that is still currently under investigation, with various cones also on the ground, as you can see there. We do also know that as much as there have been suspects that have been injured, police are also indicating that the identities of those involved have not yet been released, and they did retrieve, or rather seize, a 9mm pistol, a rifle, including undisclosed amount of cash, and a minibus taxi that was alleged in the involved in the alleged crimes. But Xoli, with that being said, this is not the first time that police are engaging in a shootout with alleged extortionists. Just last month, police injured suspects, resulting also in 3 others being gunned down in that shootout in Phoenix, just over 5 kilometers from where we're currently standing. And we understand there that the modus operandi was the same, that police received a tip-off and acted on that tip-off. And we understand that those that were inside that minibus taxi were also on their way from allegedly extorting business owners. And Xoli, we've heard in the recent months and years alone in the city of Cape Town, even outside of the city of Cape Town, where business owners, including construction companies, coming forward saying that it is difficult to work under these circumstances where extortion rackets are rife, making it difficult to provide services, which is something that we've seen also in the city of Cape Town, where officials are indicating that their members going into various communities to provide services to residents have also been extorted and threatened. So it does seem that police is moving in closer and closing the net on would-be extortionists or suspected extortionists, and ensuring that they are pushed perhaps in one corner so that residents and businesses can continue as per normal in the city of Cape Town.
Nasiphi Same, for the time being, I'm going to ask you to just keep your shot live as we try and speak to the police's Andre Traut. So if you could just give us a visual of that particular minibus taxi. Andre Traut, good evening to you, and thank you for your time. Just explain to us whether this minibus taxi that is in picture was driven by the alleged suspects, or was it driven by someone else?
Good evening. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I think Nasiphi Same captured the incident from our statement very well. Our members responded to a tip-off that extortionists are collecting money from spaza shop owners in Dunoon. They reacted swiftly. They spotted the minibus taxi with the 7 occupants. This vehicle then drove up Bosmansdam Road. In pursuit of this vehicle, the occupants opened fire with an assault rifle at police officers. We had 8 police officers in 2 vehicles following this suspect vehicle. Fortunately, none of our officers or any of the members of the public were injured. We had to retaliate. We were forced to use force, and in the process, 3 suspects were fatally wounded, and 4 others sustained injuries. They were admitted to hospital, and they are currently under police guard. We have reason to believe that this taxi, where the occupants are involved in extortion cases in the Dunoon area, we will now try and link them with a number of cases. At this stage, our detectives are pursuing all leads to build a strong case and bring the 4 remaining suspects before court as soon as possible.
Yeah. I guess, Andre, the reason I'm asking as to who exactly was the driver of this minibus taxi is that there could be concern that a civilian could have been caught in the crossfire here. And that is why I'm quite specific as to this minibus taxi. Was it driven by the very suspects, some of whom have died and some of whom are under police guard in hospital?
Well, we have reason to believe that all 7 of the occupants were involved in the extortion cases, because that's the information that we followed up, that's the information that we investigated, and this vehicle, in a high-speed pursuit with police vehicles following with police sirens, then tried to flee away from the police vehicle and avoid pulling over. We are in the process of identifying all 7 suspects. They are all yet to be identified. As I said, 3 were killed. We are not sure at this stage whether the driver was one of the injured or one of the killed, because our detectives will determine that with investigation. But all 7 were regarded as suspects at the time of the incident. We have handed the case docket over, the death inquest case docket over to IPID for independent police investigation, because police officers were involved using a force.
Yeah. Andre, as I let you go, the time now is around 6:52 p.m. That particular minibus taxi, we are told by our colleague that it is still a live crime scene. Does that mean that some of those who are deceased may well be inside that taxi and their bodies not retrieved yet?
That's correct. Our crime scene investigators are still on the scene. There's a number of spent cartridges around the scene up in the road, because from where the incident, where the taxi came to a standstill, quite a few meters from there, the shooting incident occurred. So there's a number of spent cartridges. They will use their time to do a thorough investigation on the scene to gather all information. All leads will be followed up, and you are correct, the taxi will remain there. The deceased are still on the scene. The 4 injured were admitted to hospital, and once our crime scene experts are finished, they will then remove the taxi from the scene. At this stage, we recovered 2 firearms, 1 assault rifle, an AK-47, and a 9mm pistol. We have reason to believe that there could be more firearms in the vehicle, but once our crime scene experts are finished, they will determine whether there's any more firearms in that vehicle.
Andre Traut, thank you very much for your time and that detailed explanation. He's with the Western Cape Police.